Oh, by leaps and bounds. Like, here's the thing, like, let me just put it to you in perspective. In the Dark Empire series, he fought Palpatine and beat him. Now, we're talking Palpatine in a young clone body, in his prime, so to speak, and he beat him. He beat the man that no other Jedi Master ever was able to beat. You know, when did you see my Darth Sidious? I'm sorry
versus the Emperor. Yeah,
you saw that, right? You saw what I said. You know, only 6 people have challenged him. Only 3 lasted more than.
That was awesome.
A lot of people seem to like that little thing. I actually.
Only 6 people challenged him. 3 survived it. 1 won.
Yeah, well, and it's true.
It is.
He was just that good, and you know, when you do something like that, you know, it shows that you're a being that is not to be messed with, and it shows that you're a being that has a lot of skill. And Luke was like, in Return of the Jedi, you know, the whole, you know, you failed, Your Highness, I'm a Jedi. It's true because he was pretty much fully versed in, you know, what Jedi Knight status would have been by then. You know, I know a lot of it isn't shown, but even if you look between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, the way Luke holds his lightsaber and the way he uses the Force, like, you can tell there's a noticeable difference.
Right.
And
well, if nothing else, he's so much more confident.
Oh yeah, that too. I mean, a year of training with the Grand Master will do that to you.
You would think, yes.
And also, Luke really, he's kind of like I said in that, well, technically Grey Jedi 91 said it in that Vitiate Sidious video, you know, a Force anomaly, and he is like a Force anomaly. You know, he is just that much naturally better or more skilled than average beings.
Wait, so he's like Darth, was it Darth Nihilus? The one from KOTOR 2.
Darth Nihilus?
Yeah, who was like an anomaly in the Force, and to the point where Force was actually like, he would consume people.
Well, he's an anomaly in a different sort of way.
But he is considered an anomaly. Like that.
Yes, but a different kind of anomaly. Luke is an anomaly in a way where he's naturally more connected to the Force, naturally more skilled, just naturally above the average Force user. Nihilus is a monster, essentially. He drew his powers inward so much that he essentially became. Here's the thing: he wasn't Nihilus anymore. He became his own power. You know, he instead of expressing outward like a Jedi would, he drove all his sense inward. Like he was not a living being. He was pretty much power.
Right.
But in a lot of senses, that was also his biggest weakness because, unlike Luke, you know, he wasn't able to balance out his physical form with his Force abilities. And honestly, Nihilus is, well, I mean, first of all, I consider Nihilus to be a lot weaker than Grandmaster Luke. Like, a lot weaker. And I know a lot of people really like Nihilus, but he's really actually not as powerful in retrospective as a lot of people say he is.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, like you said, Luke beat Sidious, and I don't think Nihilus could touch Sidious.
Not even close. If I were to put Nihilus on a scale of power with Sith Lords, I'd say he's, you know, I don't think he's not even as powerful as Vitiate. Maybe he's like equal to Vitiate at best.
Well, I can't say too much about Vitiate yet because I haven't technically met him. All I've seen is from your video. So, but yeah, but from what I understand, Vitiate wasn't really a combatant. Like his powers wasn't really in fighting. It was more
spiritually.
Like Plagueis.
In a lot of ways, yes, he was similar to Plagueis in that way. But like if you saw the video, you know, it wasn't his power.
Right.
It was everyone. He was essentially, like I said, he was a relic. And he was essentially drawing on everybody else's, whereas, you know, the people in Bane's line, like Grey Jedi 91 said, Bane's / Palpatine's line of Sith, you know, they were able to balance, their sorcery and their skills all into one in a lot of ways.
Right.
Which I think honestly, like, you know, I'm honestly amazed that a lot of people think that a lot of the ancient Sith were more powerful than the Rule of Two, because in reality it's kind of the opposite that's true.
Well, my big thing about the Rule of Two is that I agree that the Rule of Two Sith were probably more powerful than the majority of ancient Sith, But I can't imagine the rule of 2 being more powerful than the Sith Empire. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, what do you mean by that?
Okay, here's what I was thinking. I forget who was the one that said it. I think it was you, or it might have been one of the others that said that they talked about the Bane talking about how it's like a venom, and
it was a quote. That was a quote from Darth Bane, Path of Power. I was just saying it.
Right, and then you were saying that's why the rule of 2. That's why every single one of them was as good as.
Yeah, because it was all condensed.
Right.
The power was condensed.
Right, and I agree with that, but I'm still thinking, like, they were as great as the greatest of their the Jedi in that era, but there was still only 2 of them. Like,
well, if you're talking sheer, strength and numbers here, yeah.
Well, that, and also, like, would you say that Darth Malgus, for example, was as strong as many of the Rule of 2 Sith?
No.
Really? Oh.
Well, actually, I would say, I honestly can't say that I think he'd be able to put up a fight, like a good fight to the lot of Rule of 2. And yeah, he's probably stronger than like Tenebris or Gravid. But and another thing that I know Jen Sarai did a video of him versus Dooku, and I know he won, spoilers.
Right.
But that's another thing, it's like, the majority of Rule of 2 Sith, I don't think he could beat. Could he stand up to them? Definitely. Could he defeat them? No.
That's interesting.
Because I will not deny his skills, and I do think, like, yeah, he is probably better than some Rule of 2 Sith, but the majority, no. Like, I would honestly say, if I were to put him on a level of power, I would say he's about equal, if not slightly under Darth Maul.
Okay.
Like,
Interesting.
I wouldn't say he's almost equal to Vader. I know Jen Sarai said that, but that's not really my opinion. But just saying, like, being equal to Darth Maul doesn't mean you're weak.
Right.
But by any stretch of the imagination, not even close.
No, because yeah, he's a badass. But yeah, no, I see what you mean. And actually, I do have a little bit more respect now, because I was like, okay, yes, the Rule of 2, they're very powerful, but if they're still only as powerful as the most powerful ancient Sith, then they're going to be outnumbered. But if what you're saying is true, then maybe not.
Well, it's like, it really depends on which Sith you're talking about. Like, yeah, Malgus would be able to stand up to Vader. Would he beat him? No.
You know,
would Malgus be able to kill, like, Lord Khan or something? Yes. Would he be able to fight against Darth Maul and hurt him? Yes. Would he be able to beat...
Yeah.
What?
Would he win, though? I don't know.
Would he win? Like, well, Darth Maul versus Malgus, that would be a bit iffy. But I do think, it's very complicated.
Now, so do you think that if it wasn't for the Rule of 2, do you think Sidious would have been as powerful as he was?
No.
Because,
well,
I mean, in that case, it is hard to... It's definitely...
That's a very big what if.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue that the Rule of 2 was effective, even though it took a long time.
Well, I mean, how long did the events in this game take place?
Right. But I mean, can you even, like, I was gonna say, if you watch the Clone Wars, can you even call it the Rule of 2 anymore? Because Dooku's got his own apprentice, and then,
Well, I mean, it's stated in the, like, even Darth Bane admits this, we could take dark side disciples under our wing, but would they be true Sith? No, they would not.
Right.
And Asajj Ventress is not a Sith. Savage Opress is not a Sith.
They're just
Flint is not a Sith. They are, dark acolytes or whatever you want to call it.
Not
Dark
sure
Jedi, dark acolytes, whatever you want to call it. They're powerful dark side adepts, but they're not Sith.
Got it. I'm not sure who Flint is. I'm sure I'll find out.
He's a dark acolyte from post films era sort of thing. Sorry, I was just thinking off the top of my head.
So,
so it is still the Rule of 2, and part of the, and also just to point it out, part of the prospect of the Rule of 2 is the apprentice getting his own apprentice before or after challenging his master. So it's not a total, betrayal of the line.
Right.
But yeah, like, because. And it wouldn't even make sense if it was just 2 all the time. They would need minions. It just wouldn't have made sense otherwise.
It's just that there's only 2 there's a master and an apprentice, and that's it. Then there's disciples, but not Sith.
Bingo.
Right.
You know, they're Asajj Ventress and Savage Opress, like, to put it bluntly, they're weapons. Nothing else. You know, Dooku is a true Sith. Sidious is a true Sith. They are not. Are they powerful? Yes. Are they worthy of, you know, the titles that people give them? Definitely. But are they Sith? No, they are not.
I always thought Dooku got kind of a bum rap. Like, he's stronger than people give him credit for.
I agree. And actually, you know who me and Gray Jedi 91, him especially, he really likes Dooku. And I do think people don't give him credit, because think about it, he's stronger than Maul. I mean, that is obvious.
Oh my God! That's the one thing I used to argue with people all the time, is that, look, Obi-Wan beat Maul when he was not even in his prime yet.
Yeah,
and Dooku
beat him.
Embarrassed him.
Now, to be fair, Obi-Wan wasn't in his prime then either, but he was a lot closer to it.
Right. I don't think he really came into his prime until, you know, he'd been in the
Sith.
Clone Wars for a while. Yeah. But I mean, and the thing is, I'm also find that, like, how impressive was Obi-Wan that he beat Maul at a young. I mean, he was still a Padawan.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
to be fair, it was kind of by chance, but yeah.
Well, okay, let me put it this way: the defeat was by chance, but he stood up to him one-on-one.
Oh yeah,
and he was a Padawan in the first movie, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. And
he wasn't knighted until like the very end.
And it's not like Darth Maul was a pushover.
No, Darth Maul has killed several Jedi before him.
So the idea that Obi-Wan, God, Obi-Wan must have been. Really,
I mean, you could almost get away with saying Obi-Wan's a Force anomaly in some ways.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't classify him as an anomaly, but I would consider him above the average skill set.
Now, you think
it wouldn't have been because of genetics like Luke?
Do you think if Anakin hadn't have been Vaderized, he would have been stronger than Luke?
What is your definition of Vaderized?
Because
do you mean put into the suit or fall into the dark side?
No. Put into the suit. Because if I understand correctly, after the fight on the lava planet or whatnot, when he was basically Mustafar, he lost enormous amounts of his potential because of his damage and the cybernetics and all that.
That's kind of an interesting thing. He lost what he could have been.
Right.
But over the years he did make up for it. Was he ever? Here's the thing: like, if he never got the armor and he reached his full potential, would he be more powerful than, say, Return of the Jedi Darth Vader? Oh, definitely. Was Return of the Jedi Darth Vader weaker than Revenge of the Sith Anakin Skywalker? No, he was not. Because if you read a lot of the expanded, especially in between the movies era, Vader compensated for his shortcomings that the armor gave him. Did it give him shortcomings? Oh, it definitely did. But did he compensate for it? Yes, he did. And he was able to put a style together that was actually, in some ways, superior to what he had before the armor.
But do you think he was, because my thinking was he was the chosen one. Luke was just the son of the chosen one. So do you think Luke, let's say Anakin reaches his full potential, never got put into the suit, would he have been still weaker than Luke? Because, I mean, it looks like Luke was amazing. My curiosity is, Luke was amazing. Was that what Anakin should have been?
Yes, actually. It has been stated by by George Lucas, that Luke at his prime was what Anakin could have become. Okay. So in my opinion, if he had never, like you put it, Vaderized, I like that term. That should be on a t-shirt.
It should.
If he never fell to the dark side, if he never, became evil, if he never got burned, he would be equal to Luke, at least in my opinion. There's a lot of factors that go into it, because Luke had training that had certain training and certain events in his life that Anakin didn't have, and vice versa. So it's not the easiest thing to call, but in terms of sheer power, and if you just want me to, go by what has been stated, then yes, I'd say they'd be equal. And, Luke, Vader himself in the armor has been stated to be roughly at his absolute max that the armor will let him go to. He's said to be about 70 to 80% as powerful as Palpatine.
Which is still very impressive, yeah.
Still impressive. Like, he's still powerful, but he 20% is a decent amount of difference. Now, Luke Skywalker in his prime has been stated to be over 200% stronger than Palpatine. Now, here's the thing. Palpatine, 100%. Vader in his armor, 80%. Luke Skywalker in his prime, 200%.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, Yoda was, forget about that. So is that an answer to your question?
Yes, it is. It is very much an answer to my question.
Any other questions?
And I'm think that was interesting because I remember reading that when he was Vaderized, Palpatine had all but given up on him. Not given up on him, but he was like, oh, he's no longer what I thought he was going to be.
That is true. Because here's the thing, it's like he didn't get to be 80% as powerful as Palpatine till at least up to Return of the Jedi. Mm-hmm. When he first got the armor in Revenge of the Sith, like when you see the armor being put on to him, he was like 50, maybe even 45% as powerful as Palpatine. Like he lost a lot. Right. Because think about it, like he was burned to a crisp. He lost his limbs, and he lost a good amount of his power. And it even says, like in the Revenge of the Sith novel, it said, he is like a painter gone. What was it like? Oh yeah, a painter gone blind or a composer gone deaf. He can remember where the power is, but he can't remember how to access it fully. That sort of thing.
Oh, that's cool. That's a nice way to look at it.
It's from the Revenge of the Sith novel. So that's kind of how it works. Yeah, he was like Palpatine was like, damn it. Yeah, I know. He's like, damn it. Like, yeah. So, but the reason he even considered leaving Anakin there just to die, like on the lava pit. But the reason he saved him is he kind of had more of a connection with Anakin than he ever had his previous apprentices. And by that, I mean he actually gave a damn.
Right.
Like, he could care less about Maul. He could even care less about Dooku. But, he was grooming Anakin for so many years that he kind of felt, in whatever...
Oh, Dooku was nothing but a placeholder, right?
I know.
I mean, like, from the very beginning, he was like, I'll use you until Anakin reaches his prime.
It's sad, but true. And, he felt something for Anakin in some way because, whatever twisted version of a heart Palpatine has, he had something for Anakin there, which is why he didn't leave him die. And also what he did is he saw the armor as a way to keep Vader kind of under his thumb, so to speak, permanently. Right. Because think about it, like, he knew,
sooner or later.
He even says that in the movie, it's like, Darth Vader will eventually become more powerful than me, or either of us, whatever he says. He knew that Anakin would become more powerful than him, and he knew that eventually he'd probably be betrayed, but, now he sees this opportunity, he's like, wait a second, if I encase him in this iron lung, he'll never be as powerful as me. Cha-ching, sort of deal. So it's like, it was kind of a combination of selfishness and a tiny amount of respect, which is why he didn't leave him there.
I wonder when did he know that? Because he obviously at some point knew that Anakin was the Darth Plagueis' little experiment.
Yeah.
But how did he know? Like at the end of Phantom Menace, did he already know, or?
Well, I mean, if you read the Darth Plagueis novel, yes, he did know.
I see. That's one thing I actually need to read. I haven't. Like I said, I need to find a good audiobook.
Oh, dude, it's excellent.
I need to find a decent, because like I said, I don't have time to read. I usually just listen to audiobooks when I'm either,
it's they have the Darth Plagueis novel unabridged on iTunes.
I have to get that then. Yeah.
It's completely unabridged, and it's actually very well done.
They the last ones I read was actually, I feel kind of sad that I hadn't read them sooner, but they have an absolutely excellent version of the Thrawn trilogy now, unabridged, and the guy who does it is so good at the voices.
I've read them. I've never audioed.
The guy, yeah. It was a special anniversary thing because you know how popular Thrawn is. They did a special anniversary, and the guy they got to read them is so good at doing like Han and Luke that I swear to God, it was almost like they got Harrison Ford and what's his face?
Mark Hamill.
Yes, thank you. But no, it was really, really good.